the role of Thornton doesn't really compare to anything else I've done before. That's not to dismiss my other work, but I think it was the greatest challenge I've ever had. It was the role of a lifetime, I believe. The kind of the amount of information in that book and the way that character was loved by so many people. I mean, he's lived on the page for 150 years, so that's a great challenge for a start. But I think in me there's a natural affinity because of my heritage towards this character. So there were many aspects to which I related. And I kind of fell in love with the book. The locations are really important, and the design team, every time we arrived on set in the morning, most of us were floored with what we saw, because they created this amazing world. We shot in Edinburgh to start off with this amazing grand architecture. But a really important moment for me was when we arrived in Keighley, which was about 3 weeks into filming. And I finally saw the mill, and this is his empire, and it had a profound effect on me, which I wasn't actually aware of it at the time, but it really I kind of grew about 2 inches, I think. So that was a very important moment for me, and proof that the location has an enormous effect on the character. I think I've got three favourite moments. Watching the piece visually, my favourite moment, I think, is the scene where she leaves in the carriage. They filled the mill courtyard with snow, and there's the solitary carriage in the middle, and Margaret gets into the carriage to leave, and to act that was not difficult, because I felt the sense of loss of her leaving, so that was a very important moment. I think the proposal scene, purely because I think it's one of the longest scenes to play, but it was the opportunity for both of us to really, stretch our kind of acting legs, and that was a very satisfying scene to film. And then I think the final scene at the station, the climax of the piece, that was a very nice way to spend an afternoon. A funny moment during the filming was the scene when, during the riot scene, when Margaret has to get hit with a stone. So the art department had very brilliantly made a rubber brick, which was the size of a boulder. And they started to sort of rehearse the scene, and someone pointed out that if that actually was going to be thrown at her head would probably come off. So they had to sort of reduce the size of this brick to like a little sort of rubber stone, obviously, because you can't throw stones at people. And the grip was the guy that had been put in charge of aiming and trying to hit her. So throughout, they'd done it on handheld, so there's the Steve kind of really trying to capture it with a lot of motion, and you got the grip kind of aiming to try and hit Daniela on the head. It took about 10 takes. It hit me in the face, but every time the stone sort of flew, Daniela dropped to the ground, regardless of whether it hit her or not. And obviously everyone keeps going, and there were quite a few takes where I kind of went down to see if she's okay, and she's lying on the floor, absolutely in hysterics, with laughter, because this rubber brick had sort of bounced off her nose. But yeah, that was a very funny moment, and the horse poo as well was quite funny. So there you go. Working with Daniela, Sinead, Tim, Brendan was obviously a phenomenal experience for me. There's the three characters that I realised contributed to the 3/4 of Thornton's character was Margaret, Sinead, and Hannah, and Higgins, and working with those actors really gave me my character. And I think Brian created such an easy working atmosphere and a good democracy with the cast and crew that everyone felt very liberated and free and inspired on a daily basis. So I made a lot of acting breakthroughs for myself because of Daniela, Sinead, Tim, Brendan. And it's kind of redefined my needs as an actor, and my kind of goalposts have moved now. So I guess I'm going to judge everything according to what happened with North and South.